Schefter for Rock Roots and Blues Live, and I'm here backstage at Ram's Head on stage with Mr. Damon Fowler. Damon, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Steve.
I appreciate you taking some time.
Yeah, man, good to see you, man. Thanks.
Yeah,
Thank you.
How are things going?
Things are going really good. I've been really busy, man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
With?
Babies and gigs, gigs and babies, man.
I hope you're playing more gigs than making babies.
Well, I like the practicing part of it, the most part, you know. But it's just working it out with my wife, though, you know.
Yeah, you got to be home.
Yeah. Yes, you do.
How old are the babies?
The baby, my son, is going to be 3 in September.
Wow, has it been that long?
Yep, he's going to be 3 September 16th, and then my daughter is going to be 1 October 22nd.
Congratulations to your daughter. I have talked to you since your son, but not since you had your daughter.
Yeah, no, it's really a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So what are you working on now? It's been a while since you put out an album.
Well, you know, I'm releasing a live record in November. We recorded in Florida. And my trio, Matt Walker, Justin Headley, myself, went to the Palladium Theater and, you know, sold some tickets and had some folks come down and we recorded it. It turned out really good.
Great.
So if everything goes well, we're going to release it in November. It's looking like we're going to release it in November.
You have a working title?
Live at the Palladium? I don't know.
Well, it always works in a pinch.
Yeah, I'd take the easy way out on that one.
That's cool, man. And you were telling me you have some gigs lined up with Butch Trucks. Tell me about that.
I do. Man, I'm really excited about it. You know, growing up in Florida, there's a contingency of Allman Brothers fans and people that play the music. And I mean, there's people with mushroom tattoos and a lot of people naming their kids Dwayne and Greg and, you know, all kinds of stuff, you know. So a friend of mine, I ran into Barry Oakley Jr. a few years ago, and we became friends. And I just, you know, when I'm off tour, the Florida scene, there's a lot of gigs, there's a lot of like jamming that goes on, you know. Mm-hmm. So I ended up jamming with Barry a few times, and we had a little project together because his wife was pregnant at the same time my wife was, and we know this drummer down there named Garrett Dawson, and he had just had a baby, and so we named this band Baby Daddy, and we only did a couple of gigs, but it was just like a jam. We'd go in there and play some cover tunes that we like to jam on, and his wife's water broke when we were playing a gig with Baby Daddy one night. While we were on stage, I looked up, Barry was gone, and I was like, "What happened to Barry?" And they're like, "Well, his wife's water broke." And we're like, "Well,
it made a duo."
Yeah. Well, there was plenty of guitar players on stage by that point, so you know, we finished our night out and packed up his stuff, and you know, it was good. But anyway, so Barry has been playing bass with Butch Trucks from the Allman Brothers. The Allman Brothers have retired.
Yeah.
And Butch is doing some gigs around with his own band, and he's starting a band called the Freight Train Band. And you know, Barry threw my name in the hat, and you know, it was really crazy. I got a phone call from the manager, and you know, the guy basically, I didn't have to audition or anything. He just said, you know, we've been checking you out, and Barry said some really nice things about you, you know, so we'd like to offer you this run of gigs through Florida.
How long did you have to think?
You know, I was just like, and he's like, "So do you want to do the gig?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah." You know, I didn't have to think; it was just quick, you know. So I'm excited about it, man. We're playing Boca Raton at the Funky Biscuit. We are playing Aces Lounge in Bradenton, Florida, and I believe they might be working on a few more gigs.
Had you played with Butch before?
No, I mean, I'm very aware of his music,
well, of course,
but I've never played with him, you know.
Have you practiced?
I've been listening to the Allman Brothers for about 20 years now.
I meant with Butch. Have you got?
No, we're not practicing. We're going to go in, and I jam with Barry quite a bit, you know. So
you'll be ready.
I'll be ready.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be great.
Yeah. Did you make any of the last Allman Brothers shows?
No, I didn't.
No?
You know, I never got to see the Allman Brothers live.
Oh.
Except for on YouTube and videos and stuff. You know, I've seen Derek Trucks a bunch of times. I've seen Warren Haynes and Government Mule. I've seen Dickie Betts a bunch of times. He lives down kind of close to Sarasota, Florida. But as the whole thing, I haven't seen it. Actually, I got to open up for Greg Allman a couple times last year, and that was really cool. But
Well, not the last time we saw you here, but the time before that was when you opened for Johnny Winter.
That's right.
Now that was a night.
That would, yeah, you know, and that truly was a great night. We were fortunate enough to play here a few times with Johnny, and you know, every time was just a great experience. His camp was very cool, and Johnny, you know, in my opinion, still, you know, the greatest white blues guy. You know, he was bad, still bad.
Maybe color doesn't even matter.
Right, exactly. He's that.
He was the man. Yeah, it was very cool. So tell me about the band. You've had some band shifts happening.
Well, I have a few different bands. My trio is what I'm touring with right now. That's normally what I tour with. Last time I was here, I had Chuck Riley and James McKnight playing with me, and both of those guys had to stay home. Being on the road is very tough, you know. So Matt Walker is a young man from the area I grew up in, and I've known him since he was about 14 years old.
How old is he now?
He's 25 maybe.
Okay.
And he's a brilliant musician, and just enjoy playing with him a lot. And Justin Headley, I've known he played with Bill Wharton, the Sauce Boss. He moved to Florida, played with Bill for a long time, and played with Sean Kellerman and a lot of people. So I've ran into him on the road a bunch of times. And so, you know, those guys have been touring with me the last about year and a half. It's been going really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you say it's, you know, the road can be hard, right? And especially now, I mean, the littler clubs, the traveling and all that. So I'm curious, and maybe you can help.
Right.
I'm curious how you make a living or make any money at all, because, you know, the ticket prices are relatively cheap. They're relatively,
right.
I don't know how you guys do it.
I don't either.
I don't know how I don't enough to pay for gas.
Right, it's tough. You know, merchandise is a big thing. You gotta keep making CDs and try to grow and try and have your music grow. So your fans, you know, they can. And the thing about it is people are worried about people stealing off the internet and stuff, and that happens, you know. But the truth is you know, you build a live fan base, and your fans will come and they don't want to steal from you. You know, if they like your music, they don't. Mm-hmm. They want to support you, so they'll buy your record, and they may burn it for 10 of their friends, but at the same time, in a way, that brings those people out to your shows, though.
Yeah.
You know, and then you gotta have T-shirts or whatever. You know, they're just pieces of merchandise just to float the gas.
Yeah.
You know, and then you're working for ticket prices in these venues and stuff. So how does a working musician survive is through just the support of their fan base, and, you know, blues societies and festivals and house parties and I mean, there's many.
And
interviews. Well, I've never been paid for an interview yet, but it you know, I tell you what, it does help get the word out. And if you don't do interviews and you don't do things like this to help get the word out, you know, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm here. You know, we only interview people we like.
Cool.
We don't get paid to do it.
Right. No, exactly.
And it's all about, you know, we love your music and we like you, so we're trying to get the word out.
Exactly, and that is one of the core reasons for people making a living like myself, is people like you getting the word out and helping us, you know, network through grassroots.
We're
you know,
glad to do it. You know. Tell me about the Florida blues scene, which every time I interview someone from Florida, it seems like it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Oh, I'm from Florida. I never get to go to Florida. I don't know.
I don't play in Florida.
I do play in Florida sometimes, man, and it is good. You know, the thing is we have a lot of beautiful beaches, and there's a lot of tourism. So, you know, you can go there, and there's musicians at work every night. You know, sometimes they're playing cover music on the beach or something like that, but, you know, they still work. And there's a lot of retired musicians down there, a lot of real great musicians down there. And through just years of that, and there's festivals and stuff, and it's always kind of hot there, you know, so you can always have like outdoor events and stuff. So through the years, man, it's developed into something really good. You know, I live on the west coast of Florida. I live close to St. Pete and Tampa, you know, a little bit north of Sarasota, Bradenton, and we have a really good scene there. And then if you go to the east coast, you go a little bit south, you know, pretty much the whole east and west coast of Florida is good, but, you know, it's concentrated in like Tampa, St. Pete, and then if you go down to like Fort Lauderdale, Boca area, there's just, you know, a band I'm in, it's called Southern Hospitality, and man, we just got back from Canada. We played the Montreal Jazz Fest, which was...
How was that?
I felt like I was in Aerosmith for a night.
Oh, really? How many people were there?
It was
Thousands?
thousands, just thousands of people. It was great, it was amazing, and it was an amazing tour for us, But my point is the other guitar player in that band's name is J.P. Soares, and the guy that plays drums in his band, Chris Pete, are in Southern Hospitality, and they live down there on the other coast of Florida, and that's where you got guys like Albert Castiglia is a really strong force in the blues scene right now, and he's
40 miles from here tonight playing.
I heard that, man. I heard that. I saw that on Facebook today, man. But we got guys like that, and then on our coast we've got Betty Fox. She's a young lady that's coming out, and she's touring a lot, and she just released a record. We're doing a festival with her in 2 days. And that's going to be a whole lot of fun. That's going to be in Damariscotta, Maine.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we're going to play blues and eat lobster.
And get out of the humidity, maybe.
Man, I talked to the promoter, and he told me it's hot like Florida right now up there.
I don't believe him.
I hope he's just
it's not 98
exaggerating.
No, yeah, it's gotta be good. So one of the greatest things about your music is you found this niche. You have this style that is so unique. It's I want to say sometimes when I talk to people that it's sort of like a New Orleans Cajun thing. It's sort of like a bluesy, but it's Fowler.
Well, I kind of feel that's a reflection of my surroundings growing up. Growing up in Florida, I started playing music when I was 10. I lived with my grandparents. My mom and I lived with my grandma and grandpa's house. They had a septic tank business, and my uncle also worked for them, and he was in a country band. And so when I started playing music, he showed me chords and a scale and like a few songs, and it really inspired me. And then I started getting lessons from this guy and this guy, But the roots thing really stuck with me because me and my cousin would go and jam with his band. And so we'd play like 3 or 4 songs. We were little kids, and like it would be like a Sunday barbecue community fair thing, so the country band's going to play, and they'd bring us out, and we're little blonde-headed, skinny little guys, and so we'd play like Hey Good Looking. We did Move It On Over. And then, both of those tunes they're kind of blues tunes, it's got that framework. But my favorite part of doing that was we would play a song by James Taylor called Steamroller Blues. And I like 10 years old, 12 years old, man, I loved the form of it. It was a 1-4-5 and it was a 12 bar, and I really could understand how it worked. I really grasped it. Right. But I also enjoyed the lyrical content. It was very tongue-in-cheek. I'm a demolition derby. I'm a hefty hunk of steaming junk. Yeah. It was really cool. So then was when I really kind of reached out to the blues and also country music. And I was very fortunate because I think I just stumbled into it. It was just in my surroundings. I thought everybody listened to that, and we'd have these Sunday barbecues, and people would come over, and my uncle and his friends and stuff, they would jam and just hang out, drink beer, and eat barbecue and jam. Right. And so that was a very good point of my life musically, just especially as an introduction.
Sure.
And then from there, Tampa, St. Pete's always had a pretty good blues scene. There was a guy named Rock Bottom that was a harp player, and he was in a band called the Silver King Band, and they were almost kind of like vaudeville. The drummer played like a cocktail kit standing up, and there was a lady that was with him. Her name was Flaminga.
Oh, nice.
And there was a piano player named Barry Kuda. and there was Rock Bottom, and so they became, in the 80s, they became kind of famous in Norway, I believe, because they had this bit where they'd pick a lady in the audience out and that looked like Nancy Reagan, and then they'd curse her out, but the Europeans loved it, the Norwegians, and so it made news, and so Rock, after that band, he came back to St. Pete, and he had like this. He was, kind of like the godfather of the blues scene there through like the late 80s and the 90s, and so I would go and see all his band members had different bands, so you would go see them, and then you'd see their bands, and it's a very very pleasant atmosphere to play music. They were, there's a pecking order, and in those days, they just didn't get the hotshot little guitar player up for every song, like kind of nowadays people automatically they see a little spiky-headed kid with a Strat and they think this kid's awesome, and really, you know, he's all right, you know.
But they're all over Facebook and all.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking.
You know what I mean, and that's all cool, man. I would have been that kid too. You know.
Oh sure.
So I have love for that and respect for that, but you know, so growing up there and seeing all these musicians and seeing how it worked and seeing the history of it, and having the fundamentals of my uncle in the country band that played like honky-tonk music, and when I say he played in a country band, I mean they would play like some George Jones, some Elvis, and then some Skinnerd. You know what I mean? That's kind of was like,
cool.
You know.
Quite a mix.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
They liked it, you know.
That's what worked down there.
Yeah. You know, so I think that's really the foundation of where I, you know, started becoming a musician, you know. And then I got, in high school and stuff, I got into Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and Albert King, Freddie King, John Lee Hooker, you know. And after that, I really got into Willie Nelson, Merle Haggard. You know, just, I don't know, I like all music, you know. And I consider, you know, probably my family, you know, they didn't really tell me any different, you know what I mean? So it was just like, here you go, listen to all this stuff, you know.
Yeah. So that's, I get it explains a lot when you start naming off the names, and I can hear it. I mean, I can hear it in your music. I can hear your music in my head and put it together with what you're saying. I don't know a whole lot about gear and tune, but how do you tune your guitar?
I have, when I go on the road, I take 4 guitars. I take my Telecaster, which is my main guitar, and it's tuned to standard A440, and then I have a backup, whatever that may be, just in case I break a string or whatever. And then I have 2 slide guitars. I bring a lap steel, and I tune that normally to open E. Open E, okay. So it's like an E chord. And if I'm sitting with a band and they're playing honky-tonk music or something, I'll take the high B string, and I'll tune it to a C sharp, and that turns it into an E6 chord.
Okay.
And very little tuning and very small movements turns it into like Hank Williams immediately. You know, it's just one note that changes it, you know. Yeah. And then on the harmony, I play a harmony stratotone. It's an H44, and I tune that normally to open G.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll capo it to A.
Okay. Cool. You played with so many people, right? I mean, the blues is all about, seems like it's all about jamming with.
And that's a beautiful thing about the blues, you know what I mean? They're open to like stretching and keeping an open mind musically, you know?
Yeah, is there someone out there that you haven't played with that you're like, he's on my list, or she's on my list?
Is it just in the blues world, or anybody?
No, anybody.
You know, I mean, I would love to, and maybe not even like play on stage, but I'd love to sit down with this guy. His name is Red Volkart. He was Merle Haggard's guitar player for years, and he was in a band called Hay Bale. He's an Austin guy, and he's just one of the baddest swinging. You know, he plays a Telecaster, and it's country, but it's like Western swing. You know, and he plays real jazzy, but it's right up my alley, man. I like what that guy does.
Check him out.
I'd love to sit down and just pick his brain for a minute.
Is he on tour now?
Yeah, I think, you know what? Like when we go through Texas, very rarely do we go through Texas, but when we do, I'm pretty sure he has a gig at the Continental Club. And I would love to go down and check it out. Just, we never get a chance, you know what I mean? We're on the road, and dude, if you run into Red Volkart, tell him I love him.
I will. Yeah. I will. Anybody else?
I mean, there's so many. I ran into a girl, and we did Mountain Stage, and I can't think of her name right now, but she was just, oh man, what was her name? Valerie June.
There you go.
Her name is Valerie June, and I loved her singing, and I loved her music.
Where's she from?
You know, I'm not sure originally where she's from. I know she was living in Memphis for a while, and like I saw this girl, and I was like, man, she's great. That chick is great. Her and her band and my band, we all talked for a minute, and so we left. You know, and I was telling the band, I'm like, that girl's just incredible, you know. And then like 6 months later, I heard that she was playing with Ry Cooder or something, and I was like, oh.
See, you called it.
Yeah, that girl's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. We've been doing lots of interviews lately with people who are playing and producing too. Are you producing? Are you working?
I actually have. I have been. I've done a couple of production projects, and I'm doing another one. Actually, I'm doing 2 more this year. But the one I just finished is for a guy named Billy Evanachko. He's from Pittsburgh, or right outside Pittsburgh, and he's in the blues scene. He was at the IBCs. He's an old friend of mine. I've known him for a long time. He's got a real good band, and I think the CD comes out August 8th.
Okay.
Excuse me if I'm wrong on the date, but it's pretty close.
Pretty close. There about.
It's around August 8th, and I know that he's really happy. I'm really happy with the way it turned out.
Cool.
So if you get a chance, check it out.
I will. Where was that recorded?
Billy the Kid. It was recorded at a studio in Cadiz, Ohio. It's a place called Tony's Treasures, and my friend Mark Puskarich owns it.
Okay.
It's at his house, and it's this barn, man. It's this giant barn. There's like 4 or 5 bedrooms above it. There's this warehouse, and then he's got like this really cool studio in there. And so last tour I did, my trio was there, but then all the other bands from Southern Hospitality, J.P. Soares and the Red Hots, Victor Wainwright and the Wild Roots. There was a guy named Haddon Sayers that played, and it's called Blues for a Cure.
Okay.
And Sean Carney is a guitar player from around the Columbus, Ohio area, and real traditional, just swinging guitar player, real good guitar player, real nice dude. And him and Mark put this thing on every year. It's called Blues for a Cure. And so we played, and Billy Evanachko played with my band. And so what we did is I played, JP played, Victor played, and then Southern Hospitality played on this festival. And he does it every year, has different bands every year, and he raises money, Cure for Cancer. So the next day, we all went to his studio, and we recorded 12 tracks that's going to be on a compilation. He's going to put it out next year.
You did that in one day?
We did it all in one day, and what it was is I didn't use my band. I would use like JP's bass player and my drummer and Victor's guitar player, and then we just kind of did like that. And we got 12 songs, and they all turned out really good.
That's great.
Yeah, and it was one of the funnest days of the last year for us all. It was really great.
What's the cure for what?
Cancer.
Okay.
Yep.
Just give a little shout out to
Yeah, man. You guys check out Blues for a Cure, man. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. What can we expect tonight from you?
Oh man, some Hulk Hogan jokes and some Les Paul.
You gonna play like a Tab Benoit?
No. I leave all the monkey jokes to him, man. We're actually playing with Tab on this tour, though. We're playing with him in Evanston.
Oh, really?
In about 5 nights or something.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Tab's great.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever interviewed him or not, but
I have.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, in fact, he was the first person I ever interviewed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he didn't know I was doing it. So I was sitting there waiting for him. And I'll tell you later. But it turned out to be a really good interview, and I've seen him several hundred times since then. So. Oh
man, well we recorded Southern Hospitality's record, and then my last trio's record
down there in Homa.
Yeah, he's got a place in Homa, and really nice studio there too. And we went out on the boat with him, and it was killer.
Yeah,
we had a blast.
Anders Osborne a couple weeks ago here.
Oh wow!
I asked him about making medicine, so he was telling me about. Tab took me down. We drove an hour and a half south of New Orleans, and he said, and I don't even know how you could do that. Right. An hour and a half south, and then we got in the boat. So I feel like I've been there, kind of. Oh man, it's super cool. You get out there, and he had root beer moonshine. That was the thing that day. We went out on. He had a houseboat, man. We all went out there and hung out and had some root beer moonshine and looked at the alligators. It was really fun. Yeah. That's great, man. Yeah. All right, so I really appreciate your time, Damon. Thank you, man. Really looking forward to the show tonight. Cool, man. And thank you very much. Absolutely.